Greetings and welcome back. Today I want to talk about my favorite science fiction novels. So I am a big sci-fi fan. I love Doctor Who and Star Wars and Star Trek and all that stuff. So I wanted to talk about all the sci-fi books that I love. And the first one I did mention on my top 5 favorite books, definitely my top sci-fi novel, which is Ender's Game. And I just absolutely love it. It's such a great story. It's a really good, slightly futuristic military sci-fi. It's semi-satirical, not quite as much as something like Starship Troopers, which is hilarious. It's more, it kind of just shows the problems with the blind obedience of military and stuff like that. So that's why I'm kind of okay with this sort of sci-fi military. And it's just such a great underdog story too, with Ender, who goes to this military camp and everybody thinks he's gonna not make it and just fail because he's small and they don't think he can cut it at the academy. But he ends up becoming highly strategic and moving up through the ranks, becoming a great captain, and it's just a really great story to watch him go through. And one of the things I love about it, I think these are the scenes that like stuck with me the most, were when they're playing the zero-G battle game that they have, which is basically just like laser tag in space. And it sounded so much fun. And even watching the movie, which I did see it, and I actually thought it was a very good adaptation of Ender's Game, which I'm usually pretty critical of books to movies, but this one was done very well. And so just watching the scenes of them flying around and doing the sort of laser tag in space, it just felt like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. So that's only one of the parts of the book that like stuck with me the most. I feel like it's the biggest part of Ender moving up in the ranks kind of thing, because it's sort of how they rank everybody, is how well they do at the game. It's really interesting because it's basically laser tag, but it's like training them for military. And so it's sort of that sort of thing. The way they train is like making military things sort of into a game, which sounds effective, but it's also a little terrifying. So I really love the sort of, like I said, sort of satirical military vibe of the book, but it's really a great character-driven story, and there's such great character development with Ender and all the other people he interacts with, all the other soldiers with him in the camp. So it's a really great character-driven story and just really fun sci-fi, and it's definitely my favorite. Another of my favorite sci-fi books is The Martian, which is a slightly different vibe. It's really funny, and it's a lot of that sort of, it's a very isolated kind of story, which is really fun. It's also sort of more, I don't know if this is a term, but like sort of like contemporary sci-fi. It's just sort of astronauts rather than feeling all that futuristic. But yeah, it feels like it could happen contemporarily with just like a little bit of extra tech, because obviously there are no Mars missions, but it doesn't feel too far in the future. And I love the witty narration of it. It's so well done, and you just follow the main character as he tries to survive on Mars by himself. And it's really interesting because they have a lot of sort of science-y jargon in it. I don't know how accurate it is, but it's very convincing, even if it's not accurate. And the way he tells the story is just so funny and so witty. It makes you enjoy taking that journey with him of trying to survive on Mars. And I love how simple the premise is, but it's just so engaging because the character is so engaging and you want to see if he survives, but it's not like dire and scary. It's just, you want to see what he does, and it's just a really good book. And so sort of similar to that, with that sort of isolation feel, way less witty, funny, more heartfelt, is Satellite, which has that same sort of isolated feel, but it's a bit different. It's about these 3 teenagers. They were born and raised on a space station, so they were raised by the astronauts that come up there, and they've never been on Earth because they were born on the space station in zero-G, so they weren't allowed back to Earth until they were old enough and strong enough. So now that they're teenagers, I guess like the space program deems that they're ready to come back to Earth, and so it's them going to Earth for the first time and experiencing that all new. And it's a really interesting perspective, because I feel like a lot of sci-fi with the like experiencing Earth as something new is usually from like an alien perspective. We usually get like, it's this alien that doesn't even understand the culture and comes from a completely different culture, but these are just kids who grew up with people from Earth. So they understand it, they've just never lived on Earth, so like the environment is so strange to them, and it's just a really interesting perspective to see, a fresh perspective of what it is like to live on Earth when you've never been there before, but you understand it more than like an alien would. And so I feel like it's a really good examination of humanity and living on Earth and sort of that fresh perspective. I really like the way the story is told. It is a YA novel, but I would recommend it to anybody because the story is just so engaging. I would definitely recommend Satellite. So on a different note, one of my other favorite sci-fi novels is Ready Player One, but I feel like it's more of a definitely like futuristic tech kind of sci-fi. And I love how much there are like subgenres of sci-fi, so I like that you can kind of have a different feel in every type of sci-fi. I love Ready Player One with the oasis and that virtual reality world, which I feel like we see the sort of dystopian world and then our main character goes into this virtual reality, and I feel like most of the story is told in that reality, which I think is a really interesting way to tell the story, because we know he's just sitting there with his VR headset on, but like it's told as though he's in that world and moving through that world, so it's a really unique way to tell the story, and I really like it. And it's such a great sort of adventure story with this competition that he's trying to win and solving all the puzzles, and just so many fun like nostalgic references. So Ready Player One is a really fun sci-fi novel. And another one similar to that with the VR futuristic feel is Otherworld, which also deals with sort of a virtual reality system, but it's for all five senses, and the world it builds sort of like has no rules, you can do anything. So initially our main character sees it as, okay, this is just a game, but then realizes that the company's trying to sort of make it the new reality, so everybody's staying in this virtual reality and that's where they live, but it's sort of dangerous for them. So it's sort of this adventure to stop the company from sort of taking over and making this the new reality. But it deals with that same like what's reality, the virtual reality sort of mindset kind of thing. So I would definitely recommend Otherworld. It's actually a series. There's 3 of them, and they're all amazing. So highly recommend. So those are 5 of my favorite sci-fi novels. Let me know if you've read any of them, what you think, or what some of your favorite sci-fi novels are, or even just different sci-fi genres, subgenres of sci-fi that you really like that I might not have touched on. Give me some good recommendations, because I love a good sci-fi novel. So let me know down in the comments. And as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day.